Good morning and welcome to Lattes and Leaders with Dr. Brad Johnson, best-selling author and accomplished public speaker specializing in education and educational leadership. I am your co-host, Jeremy Johnson, organizational psychology consultant specializing in career coaching, training, and development. Meet us here each week to discuss topics in education and leadership and meet with some of the top education talent and thought partners from across the globe. So grab your latte, sit back, and enjoy a relaxed conversation that will leave you informed and encouraged.
Robert, glad to have you today. You'll be the first one with us. Obviously, from Las Vegas, which I love being in Vegas, but
I don't know how much you love it right now. It's 120 out.
Well, it's 100. Yeah. It's 100 here and 100 humidity. So, but yeah, But anyway, I wanted to have you on and kind of kick off this Latte with Leaders with you because we met a couple of years ago when I came to your school, and I tried to inspire, but I left inspired because just all the great things that you do and the ideas that you have and everything. So as I told Jeremy, I wanted to have you on so you could just kind of break the ice and let other leaders know what some of the cool, amazing things you do, like the red carpet. And, I brag on the teacher's lounge and stuff, but I'll let you just explain all that and then we'll go from there.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it very much. And thank you for having me as always. It's always good to talk to you. When you came a couple years ago, it was fun to take a tour around the school and you were blown away with the teacher's lounge. I remember that. So Tyrone Thompson in Las Vegas, I was blessed to open the school with the staff in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. I mean, talk about a challenge. You have 440 kids getting sent online to a bunch of teachers they don't know, they don't trust, parents don't trust anybody during that time. That was a challenge. But really my idea behind starting the school was to make it innovative and to take care of the people within it. So, for example, one of the ideas that I had was to create a teacher's lounge that's truly a teacher's lounge. And, you walked in and the first thing everybody sees is the massage chairs. And that was just an idea I got really during COVID. I'm like, let's buy some massage chairs. And they have feet massagers. We use student-generated funds to pay for snacks. The teachers do not have to pay for snacks. We get them donated or we find ways for them to be free. I just don't want teachers or educators, staff, to have to worry about finding $1 for a vending machine and then finding out that it doesn't have water. So we really, really take the approach here to take care of the staff and they take care of the clients. It's kind of like the whole Richard Branson, Virgin Hotels concept where if you take care of the people will take care of the clients. And that's kind of the whole idea with the thinking behind Tyrone Thompson. We do have the red carpet. When the teachers show up the first day, they get to walk the red carpet. This year we're adding, some paparazzi. We had the cheerleaders come out. But again, for us, it's really just celebrating the educators who are in the trenches doing the work. And that's really, really big here.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it is. And, I often say things like, when you walk into a school, you can tell what's going on. You can tell how that school's led. It's just palpable, either the excitement or not, or, if it's boring and, just a hard place to work. You can literally feel it when you walk in. And so, yeah, I remember walking in and just the staff and everything. Wow, I was blown away.
Well, thank you. That was the first day back. And I always say, I think the teachers and the educators as a whole, the first day back is the happiest they're going to be all year, because by the second day, there's a copy machine that might be broken or a parent that's already, causing them some issues. But that first morning back is as happy as we're going to be collectively until the last day when we're having lunch and getting ready to leave. So I really try to capitalize on that enthusiasm and joy.
That's a good perspective, and you're exactly right.
So, question: How do you keep that excitement moving throughout the year?
It's a challenge, but I think you have to lead from the front. We do a lot here. The teachers that have remained with me for the 4 years, and the ones that come on board, they know that it's a lot in terms of all of the things we do with the community and with our house system. But I think honestly, it just starts with me. I try to be on most days, not all, but on most days, I try to lead with enthusiasm, and we try to do innovative items that just bring joy. Education's hard, teaching is
Mm-hmm.
hard. It's getting more and more difficult. So I really think by just keeping the people in the trenches at the forefront of our mind and trying to make sure the kids have relationships with everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to make school a fun place to be for the most part is really really important. Really important. You know, we do things where we have so many people out in front of the school every morning giving high fives, fist bumps. We have music on. We want it to be a welcoming, fun place where kids want to go and where
Mm-hmm.
staff wants to work. And that's really our mantra is just taking care of the people who are in the building, like I was talking about earlier. So I think when you lead with that scope of a mindset, it makes it a lot easier for me at least to lead it and make it enjoyable for everybody.
Everybody has that one teacher that they can, think back on that just left an impact on them, whether it be, performance wise in school or character development. Who is that person and how did they influence you?
You know, it's funny you say that because one of the books I have out right now is called More Than Just Teaching. And it's just that. I got the idea when I was walking with a teacher here who had gone to a baseball game the night before, and I had seen the pictures of the excitement of the kid's face when he saw his teacher. And I came up with the idea to write a book called More Than Just Teaching because it's more than math, it's more than writing, it's relationships. And the fact that you say, who was the teacher in your life that meant a lot to you? Actually, when I present right now, I talk about Mr. Beasley. Mr. Beasley, he passed away, God love him, but I wish I could tell him how much he meant to me. But Mr. Beasley was the guy that did not care who you were. He expected the best out of you at all times. And I'm
Mhm.
from a small town. I played sports. I probably got away with more than I should have. But Mr. Beasley didn't care. He didn't care who you were. You were going to do the work and you were going to do it the correct way. And I am so thankful that he took the time to challenge all of my classmates but me and make sure that I did the best I could. I'm so grateful to Mr. Beasley, just for for not letting me slip a little bit, not letting me get away with things, and just showing me this is the way to do what you do. And if you're gonna do something, do it at the best you can and do it the right way. So when
Mhm.
I think of my teacher, I think of Mr. Beasley.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
awesome. Yeah.
interesting because I think everyone has a different teacher and a different story, but it's almost always the same story. Not that they were just like your friend and or they were just like funny or had it may be those things. It could be part personality, but I really think they see in students the potential that they have and they work to help get that out of them, which is what education really is. Is seeing what potential they have and helping get that out of them. And I think those are the teachers that, we all remember that teacher. Mine was a seventh grade life science teacher like that, that just, she was fun. I enjoyed it. She made learning fun, which I think is important, but she just had those expectations and, really wanted the best from you. And the thing is, and you and I've talked about this before. When you build that relationship, it's almost like having your child. When your child wants to please you, they want to do their best for you. When you have that good relationship, even as a parent, and so it's kind of the same thing with teaching. They build that relationship first, but then they have those high expectations. But because of that relationship, you really do try to push and live up to it for them.
Yeah, in the book that I wrote is 25 educators and 50 stories about why relationships matter most in education. And if you read through it, there's so many instances of where a teacher took a moment to find out something about the student or find a way to make that student feel important and basically change their life. And it was just so fun to read all these stories about educators who made such a great impact on humans. And I think also at times we as educators forget the impact we've had upon people. And you talk about relationships. That's really how you and I kind of came to meet. Is our theme that year you came was relationships over everything.
Yeah.
And
First.
you post about relationships a lot. And so I think, unfortunately, people don't understand just how important they are. I think we get a little bit uh, too much focused on compliance and things of that nature, rather than finding out about the human that you're dealing with or working with and taking that road. So relationships are so important, and I just cannot express that enough.
Well, and I think it's important what you said too is that, a lot of times you won't, as a teacher, you won't know you impacted their life, even though you do. And so that's the whole key is, I tell teachers all the time, and they're like with those stories, there's that one person or two that, you kind of remember those stories, but you really impact them all. Whether they ever tell you or let you know, you're impacting every student. And some of them you're probably, when you talk about those stories, and we talk about, like my teacher that impacted me, but she probably impacted, another student or other students even more that, that story's never told. And so I think that's an encouragement for teachers to understand is, these students may not ever express what you meant to them, but you were that to them, and
Yeah,
you are a difference maker.
you are, and then, like I said, within the book, I took a moment to find some of the teachers in the book, and it was so powerful when the teachers found out how much they were revered by people who are in the educational world today. It basically made their whole day. I mean, it was like, oh, I matter, and what I did mattered, and I didn't waste my career or anything like that. So, and teaching is generational when you think about it. Not so much in the family, but Mr. Beasley impacted me, and I impacted students kind of the way he did. So it's a generational thing, within the scope of our profession. And I just, I think there's so many great teachers out there that just don't know how big of an impact they had, but they need to remember that they did for at least one or maybe many students.
Right. Absolutely. That's a good point too. Yeah, it is generational. You're inspiring, and in all fields really. One of the things I say is not every student you inspire may be a teacher, but whatever role they go into, they're going to carry, your relationship, your wisdom, those things that you instilled in them, to whatever field or career it is. So like you said, it's just generational. Then they impact people and they impact. So it's powerful. Like you said, it's a hard job, but man, it is such a rewarding job when we think of it in that light.
Absolutely. You're changing the future, and very, very few people get to do that every day.
Our last couple of books, Brad and I have discussed personality a lot. We've talked about it in mainly like a agreeableness to disagreeableness spectrum is kind of where we focused. So, which of your personal qualities do you think have helped you become the successful leader that you are today?
I am highly agreeable.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. I don't, well, I'm an Enneagram too. I don't know. We talked about Enneagrams, I think, one night at dinner, but,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like conflict, but of course that comes with the job. I'm a peacemaker. Like, let's just talk about it, talk it out. Um, but I think that helps me in the fact that, I come off as supportive, and I want to listen, and I want to find the best answer. I feel like some people who maybe aren't highly agreeable, they aren't as willing to maybe listen to all sides. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and and I think that's one thing that's been very helpful in my career is, like I said, my whole thing is perspective. So I will tend to listen to all perspectives and kind of put my opinion in there and hope that we can come to a realization that this is the best answer. So I think using my highly agreeableness and listening to all sides and finding kind of a compromise on situations has helped. There's been times, of course, where, um, I have a saying, everybody wants you to be honest with them, but then when you are, you're the a hole. And so, there's times when we just have to say things and people don't like it. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
when, the highly agreeable kind of goes out the door, and you got to find your way. But I
Mm-hmm.
think just, I try to be positive every day. My kids my kids say that I'm optimistic every day until something doesn't go right. Then I kind of go off the rails. But I wake up every day just trying to be optimistic that today's our day, and we're going to find the answers and we're going to change the world. And I think those are the two things that just pop into my head is the traits that I can use to kind of just move us forward.
Yeah, yeah, and
I
lots of
like.
people that are highly agreeable, have difficulties in their role, especially in leadership roles. So it's really good that you found a way to leverage that into strengths, and that's pretty ideal. And that's really all that we can ask for is people is to be able to kind of leverage that. We always work on the skills, that we're kind of lacking, but being able to leverage what we do well, our talents into strengths is huge.
Yeah, I think one thing I think I also do very well is I look at each situation as a different situation.
Hmm.
There's no blanket answer. There's no hard and fast rule. There's no predetermined outcome, if at all possible. You have highly agreeable teachers. They're going to cry if you talk to them about something they don't want to talk about.
Yep,
And then
Hmm.
absolutely.
then you have teachers that are not highly agreeable, and it's just like it's just a battle. And so I think
Hmm.
as leaders, we have to know our people or the people we work with, and you
Absolutely.
have to kind of adjust to who you're talking to. Some people will cry at the drop of a hat, and some will just be like, just tell it to me straight. And you've got to know which one you're working with, because I think that helps you get to the outcome that you both want to get to.
And
Hmm.
that's, and you're exactly right with that. And it's one of the reasons because everybody's, always, oh, you talk about relationships, and I do. But the key to that, especially with leadership, is, I always ask the question to leaders, how can you lead your people if you don't know them? And so, just like you said, the better you know them, the better you can dial in on what you need to address a situation or to encourage them or to praise them, whatever it is. Being aware of each person, as a person and then as a professional, man, it makes your job so much. It takes a little bit more work, but overall, long term, it actually makes your job easier because
Yeah,
you can be more effective.
I think just knowing people better too, it gives you some lanes to kind of go down. I use sports analogies a lot, and we have the Golden Knights. And if a teacher likes the Golden Knights, I can bring that into our conversation and say, well, let's think about the people on this team. How would they do that? Or, if someone, I don't know, someone likes dogs or whatever. If you know that, it gives you kind of a space, a happy medium to work from. And you have to know your people. They're not robots. I don't like that at all. They are humans in the trenches doing a hard job. So our job is to help them as much as possible through knowing them as humans. That's really my focus, and what I just focus on daily is just making sure they're okay. What do you need? How can I help you? Okay, now let's work on things.
Hmm.
So going back to you being in Vegas, which again I love, but I'm assuming there's a lot of cultural diversity there, not just because people come from all over the world there, but probably a lot of people come there to work or stay or whatever. Or, even in the entertainment business, you have, with the plays and, we'll throw it out there. Like with Cirque du Soleil, you have people from all over the world coming and bringing their families and such. Um, how do you deal with that? Because it's not just about like race or anything, but you're talking about just purely different cultures from around the world that are trying to really be that melting pot there in Vegas.
Well, yeah, I mean, Vegas is a melting pot. Our school, even though it's out in the suburbs, is a melting pot. We are very, very diverse, which is great. I love it because you get so many different perspectives. Um, I think it just comes down again to treating people as humans and getting to know them, and their background and where they come from and what struggles they might be going through. We have students who move here from uh, you know South America and they don't speak English. Okay, no problem. Let's figure it out. Let's find out what you do know. Are you literate in your native language? Are you not? And I think you start to just peel that onion back on that student or that family and find out what their needs are and meet them where they're at. That's really the
Mm.
goal. We really focus on differentiating for students as much as possible. I am
Mhm.
not. I struggle greatly with programs. I
Mm.
might, I might get in trouble for that. But it's, I just think we need to differentiate as much as we possibly can. Which is, again, it goes back to time, and teaching is difficult. But we are such a melting pot. We have to differentiate. We can't treat all students as the same type of student. And I think in Vegas, there's many different schools. There's schools that are low SES to schools that are very high SES. But ultimately, if every school can differentiate for the human, the person that needs help, and meet them where they're at, that's really the goal. I always say, I don't care if Marvin the Martian lands a spaceship in the parking lot. When the student walks in, we're going to welcome them. We're going to find out what they know, and we're going to meet them where they're at. And then we're going to help the family if we can. So again, I just think, again, for me, it all comes back to relationships and knowing the people that you're working with.
So we talk a lot about taking care of yourself. Lots of educators and those in educational leadership, they give until they've almost given out. So how do you take care of yourself? How do you treat yourself?
I am one of those people. I work way too much. Um, my wife had to basically tell me I couldn't go upstairs and write books anymore as much as I was. Um, and I think that's just the challenge. I think I know Dr. Johnson's like this. We work hard, and we're always thinking, and we're always trying to make an impact, and we're always thinking, how can we help the next person? And it's a struggle for me personally, because I don't want to slow down. I want to make as much impact as I can in the years that I have left. So honestly, I spend time with my wife and my girls as much as possible. I write. That's kind of my escape. I write. I get an idea and I write a book, and we go with that. But for me, it's just as much as just sitting down and watching a television show and just trying to escape. But honestly, I do a terrible job of that. Some principals, you see they do a great job. They're off into Europe on a vacation or whatever. I can't do that. I think I'm partially ADHD, but it just comes from always wanting to do better and improve, and thinking about the next thing, and how can we make this better. And it's probably not healthy, but for me, I try to just escape by watching a Yankees game, or just hanging out with the kids, or talking to my wife for a little bit. And if I can do that and get away, it helps, but honestly, it's a
Hmm.
struggle. I think it's a struggle for teachers too. You have some who can do it, some who, like June comes and I'm out of here, I'll see you in August. But then you have teachers who are always looking at something to think, how can I use that in my classroom? How can I use that to help kids? Well, maybe this is a good resource to have. Education, I think, is just one of those professions where if you're devoted and dedicated, it's hard to step away from, because the teacher in you just never quits, or the admin in you never quits when you want to get better and you want to constantly improve.
Hmm.
That's a good point. Absolutely. And with the teachers too, you're right. Because they're always like, they want administrators to push kind of the self care on them. I'm like, well, you've got to take control of it yourself. If you're always doing or looking, and you've got to learn how to shut it off, or at least shut it down, so that you can take care of yourself as well. So,
Yeah, I think one of the things that probably is not my best quality, I would say, is I just have high expectations for the school. And so I have the statement like, second sucks. Second's the first loser. I don't want to be second. And I try to, for better or worse, make the staff understand that. Like, why are we here? If we don't want to be second. If you want to be second, this is the wrong school. So in a way, I probably don't foster the whole concept of stepping away, because I want to be great. And again, I think that's just me recognizing some of the struggles I have as a leader, and knowing that, and then accepting when people don't text me back or don't email me back, and
mm,
know, hey, they have the right to walk away for a little bit. It's okay.
I like that. That's good. That's good. They know that. Yeah. So, are you a coffee guy, a latte guy, an espresso guy?
I don't drink coffee, although I do enjoy a mocha frappuccino. My daughter works at a place in town, and they've got me hooked on um, something I probably shouldn't be drinking at my age. But I don't like hot, especially in Vegas, where it's already boiling.
Yeah, already, huh?
But yeah, I'm not a huge coffee guy, but I'll have I'll have a mocha frap, which is basically a milkshake if I can get one.
Well, I've got one more question for you. I don't know if Jeremy does or if we're done. I guess we're about wrapped up. But
No problem. I'm good.
are you as sad about the Mirage closing as I am?
It's interesting when you live in Vegas, you don't go downtown really unless you have to or you want to. So I'll go down for a night's game occasionally or to see a show, but I think that probably the tourists are more sad about it than the locals. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. The people that work there, of course, might have a different
Oh, right.
different perspective on that. But the great thing about Vegas is that it kind of rises from the ashes. It does not stand pat. It's always trying to get better. It's always trying to improve. It's always coming up with better ideas, which is kind of a great, model for
Philosophy,
education.
yeah, absolutely.
Philosophy is, Vegas doesn't settle, and there's so many hotels that were here when I got here that no longer exist. They are always upgrading, always improving, always trying to find a way to get more tourists in to make things better. And I think that's probably a really great philosophy to have.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good point. That makes me feel a little better about it.
There's plenty of Cirque shows for you to go to.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us online here, and we hope to have you back soon. And you want to plug any products or books while you have a second?
It's funny. I'm not. I am a terrible salesman.
Because you're highly agreeable.
I'm highly agreeable. Yeah. But no, if people want to go to my website, it's roberthinchliffe.com. There's links to all my books, Linktree, Perspective Inc. But the ones that I have, Dream Themes right now is out. Judging by the sales, people love Dream Themes, which is the concept of using a theme for your school the entire year and just focusing on one main thing. I always say, like when I present, I'll ask people sometimes, how many of you know the mission statement? Nobody knows it. Very few people know it, I should say. So I've for years have done themes. When Brad was out, our theme was relationships over everything, which I mentioned. The teachers and the staff can tell you what the theme is, and the kids in the community are starting to be able to. But anyways, I think that's caught on a lot with the book Dream Themes and people using this whole idea of having a mantra for the year as a staff. And then, of course, more than just teaching, which I talked about. Brad and I, of course, have a book he was nice enough to let me be a part of, which was great. And then I have a book about house systems as well out with Angie Brown. So lots of books and lots of ideas in this head, unfortunately, which may or may not be a good thing. But yeah, and then also I'm trying to, like when Brad was out here too, I said, you have the best job in the world. You get to fly around and inspire educators. That's like the dream job. So I'm trying to get into that. I get to go to some schools this fall and start that. And that's fun. So if people need me to come and kick something off as well, let me know. But do I hate that last segment talking about myself.
But you did a good job, and you do. Yeah, man, your books are great. Just running your school, fantastic. Like I said, that's the just walking into that school, I could tell that, and your passion for your staff, which I think a teacher or that a leader has to have. You're the one that influences the morale of your staff. Leaders do, whether they think they do or not, whether they want to accept that responsibility or not, it's there. And man, you can really tell a difference when you walk into a school like yours where you're passionate about education, passionate about your students, and passionate about your staff. So yeah, we appreciate you being on, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon in Vegas, I hope.
I still owe you dinner, so whenever you get out here, we're gonna go. But I appreciate you guys. You've always been fantastic for me and to me, and I appreciate everything. You know that. I've told you that. But, best of luck on the podcast. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be very inspiring. And you know so many great leaders out there that can help other leaders. So basically, you're more than just a teacher as well. You're a guru, and you're helping so many people. And I think it's great. So thank you for all you do as well.
This has been Lattes and Leaders with Dr. Brad Johnson. We hope that you leave today feeling informed and inspired. For more educational content, be sure to add this podcast to your list and follow Dr. Johnson on any and all social media platforms. For more information on Dr. Johnson, Jeremy Johnson, and special guests, check out drbradjohnson.com. That is DOCTOR, bradjohnson.com. Hope to have you back soon.